Hi, I'm Kim from Nesby, and in this video, you will learn about the carbon cycle game. This game is part of Lesson 3, Modeling Moving Carbon, from the upcoming Roads from Earth to Venus companion course. The objectives of this game are to help students understand the reservoirs and processes in the carbon cycle on Earth. A reservoir is just a place that carbon is stored, and there will be a station card to represent all of the major reservoirs. A process is something that causes the carbon to move or change form from solid, liquid, or gas in the carbon cycle. This game simulates the carbon cycle, which is a macro model, meaning that the system itself is so big we couldn't possibly understand it without a model to help us. In round one, we're hoping to demonstrate to students that not all carbon atoms take the same path through the carbon cycle. Sometimes when we talk about cycles, we misrepresent them as circles where all of the matter in the cycle goes through the exact same process each time. And that's just not the case. Carbon is moving around from reservoir to reservoir, and individual atoms are taking different paths. In round two, we alter the game slightly to demonstrate one way that humans have altered the carbon cycle. Before we get going, I just want to take a moment and talk about how the next generation science standards define modeling. This is the practice of using or creating a simplified version of a system, event, or process. We need to do this to help understand, explain, or predict these very, very large or very, very small things that we can't otherwise observe directly. When people hear the word model, a lot of them think it's a 3D model, like a model car. And yes, that is one type of model. However, there are many other types of models, such as diagrams, even equations can be models. And in this case, we'll be using a game, which is a type of simulation, to model the carbon cycle. We've provided two ways to play. We recommend the whole class kinesthetic model, which includes station cards, and you will also need dice. There's also an electronic version if for some reason you can't use the recommended kinesthetic model. Both versions require students to record their path through the carbon cycle on a recording sheet, and both versions require students to engage in sense-making discussions to make sure that they understand what the model is demonstrating. There are also two rounds of this game. In round one, human activities aren't really reflected in the model, but in round two, we alter the fossil fuel card so that it reflects humans removing fossil fuels from the ground and burning them. Other human activities also affect the carbon cycle, and we have not included these in the game, but students will have an opportunity to discuss how they think the game could change to reflect additional human activities. To play this carbon cycle game, you will need a printed set of station cards, dice, you'll need one per student, and student recording sheets. Again, you'll need one student recording sheet for each student. To play the carbon cycle game for round one, the first thing that you will do is place each station card around the room. And in this case, we're only using the fossil fuel card for round one. Assign students to a start station. If you want to model the carbon cycle more realistically, place just one or two students at every station except sedimentary rocks, and place all the rest of the students at that sedimentary rock station. This is because the vast amount of Earth's carbon is in fact stored in the sedimentary rocks. All right, so once a student is assigned to a start station, in this case, the atmosphere station, the student will start by writing their name here and then recording their start station. The student should then roll the dice. In this case, the student rolled a 2 and do what it says on the station card. In this case, it says to stay in atmosphere. So I'm going to write atmosphere again. And then for round 2, again, I'm starting at atmosphere. And I'm going to roll the dice again to see if I'm going to move to a new station. All right, now this time the student rolled a 6. On the station card, it says that to roll a 6, you move to the soils station because rain carries you into the soil. So we're going to instruct the student to record their new station here. They'll move to the new station, which in this case is the soil station, and start round 3 by recording their new station here. Students will repeat this process of rolling and recording until they have recorded 10 rounds. Once students have completed 10 rounds of recording for round 1, There is a round 2 switch, which we'll talk about in a moment. However, before moving on to round 2, please check lesson 3 for some sense-making discussions that need to take place between round 1 and round 2 so that students are able to follow the essential learning of this lesson.
One important thing to take note of is that there is a fossil fuels station card for round 1 and a different fossil fuels station card for round 2. Before you play round 2, allow students to examine both fossil fuel cards to see what they notice and what they wonder about the similarities and differences between these two cards. Then remove the round 1 fossil fuel card and play round 2 with only the round 2 station card for fossil fuels.
In addition to this kinesthetic model, which again is our recommended model, we also have an electronic version of the carbon cycle game that you can use if for some reason the kinesthetic model doesn't work for you, like perhaps if all of your students are learning remotely. So I'm going to demonstrate the electronic version of the game now. This is the Google Slides file for the round 1 carbon cycle game, and you will find this as well as the round 2 file linked in the lesson plan. You will only have view access to this file, as well as your students will only have access to view it, but that's all you need in order to play the game. So you can see here slide 1 is instructions. It talks about your handout and clicking slideshow in the upper right to enter presentation mode. So I'll go ahead and do that. The instructions further say to click on your start station below and then start recording the same way that we demonstrated for the kinesthetic game. So for example, if a student is starting in the atmosphere station, a copy of the station card will appear here. Students will roll and record just like they did before. And if they are directed to move to a station, they'll click on that station and be taken to that station card to continue the process once again for 10 rounds, just like was demonstrated for the kinesthetic model. And again, make sure you use the round 1 file for round 1, and then mix it up and use the round 2 file for round 2. There are additional supports for lesson 3, such as links in the lesson plan, as well as the electronic versions of the carbon cycle game, and those all important discussion questions and discussion support to help you make sure that students are getting the most out of these models, round 1 and round 2. In addition, in the lesson plan, you'll also find some standards alignment. So please check those out. You can find the lesson plan and the link to the entire challenge at our website, which is nesby.org. Don't forget that W. Good luck, and I hope that you enjoy this carbon cycle game.